Hello everyone, this is Stefan and you're at Lush and Salty Aquariums. Thank you for coming. All right, this is my 12-gallon long Lifeguard Aquatics desktop aquarium. And Lifeguard Aquatics, by the way, is a less expensive option to the UNS and ADA aquariums, but you can still get a very nice piece of aquatic furniture, and that's this 12-gallon long. So I wanted to update after a trim on mostly the plants in here, although there is a story to tell with the fish, and if we see them, I'll talk about them. The first thing in the aquarium are pink flamingo, a somewhat rare, although I think a lot less rare, but still expensive aquarium plant, Cryptocarinae. Needs a little higher light than the average crypt. And then I've got epiphytes, java fern, and anubias throughout this rockwork, which is a kind of lava rock. It's a little more exotic, so it has some interesting coloring to it, not just black or red. You can see there. I have left a little bit of Christmas moss, but that rock was covered just a little while ago. And then as we move up, and this is something I want to try to hit on because it's such a fabulous way to widen this hobby's appeal, right? Plants that grow out of the water, emergent plants. Often they're one plant can do both, but sometimes not so much. In any event, I've got a cutting there that is a creeping jenny, a very common house plant or outdoor landscaping plant. And I just basically pop it in between some frog bait or a little bit of moss, and it'll start rooting below, or even better, let it run along a branch like this exposed piece of driftwood. And there you see the same plant, a bit of a darker leaf, but that's creeping jenny. And then these kind of funky cuttings, because I just trimmed all the big beautiful leaves as they were hitting the light up there, is Hygrophila coriambosa, or giant hygro. These are just random pieces I cut from immersed plants in other aquariums. And when they are doing their thing, not freshly trimmed, I will argue that it's a little bit gnarly, but they're beautiful, bushy, aquatic plants, and probably a weed in the wild, as are, by the way, a lot of our aquarium plants. Then moving across, obviously there's some frog bit and duckweed, ubiquitous in my aquariums. This piece of driftwood, what I did is I laid it right on top where it was kind of neat, and shored up the back to create a sort of wooden cliff overhang, whereas beneath it, is my reflection, but beneath it is that nice dark canopy that, say, a sparkling gourami or certain other fish would super appreciate. A bed of fish, really a lot of fish in a smaller tank like this would love to have that kind of safety zone. But up on top, I was able to put that very same Christmas moss that's in the water. I've got some sphagnum moss. I've got that Hygrophila coriambosa, that's a small version, just from a little 1-inch stem I stuck in the moss. That's a bigger one. And then in the back, I have a couple kinds of pothos growing, as well as what, well, I'll get to it. Creeping along the wood there, I've got it still exposed up there, although anything could happen with creeping jenny, which you see here, and pothos. It might want to occupy that space. And then the roots below are what's really appealing in terms of in the water. They not only filter the hell out of it, they look pretty cool, and especially if you're into breeding or have shy and skittish fish like I do in this tank. I'm talking sparkling gourami, I'm talking peacock gudgeon. They love having that sort of dark overhang and all this protective growth that's outside of the tank. So this is a little still life I've created. It's very temporary. Some old antique aquarium decor, Japan ceramics, both of those particular pieces. some driftwood and some of the lava rock I have inside the aquarium I have outside, as well as that oddball little rock sculpture that I just found in our storage unit and put there. Then in a simple jar, I've got the Lucky Palm plant. And then these two are out front are just real common $4.99 plants at like Home Depot. I'm not worried about whether they're aquatic or not because I'm using them in their pots. And by the way, when I do a water change, I take my turkey baster and water the outside plants, and occasionally I spritz everything up top. Although I don't do that as much as I used to, and I'm still getting pretty nice growth on the mosses and not a lot of burning, although some, but I can tolerate that. Back inside the Hygrophila P, there's that moss looking almost like a fern itself, and then this Hygrophila all the way throughout, wrapping with Cryptocairn. I told you about those. These are more standard, but maybe more beautiful. Honestly, this is just kind of doing that, and this is kind of doing that. And then in the back, I think that's Rotala, and you know, it gets to the top every week, but it's kind of staying. So I think it's Rotala indica, but I'm not, maybe not, but something like that. And I was tempted to pull it and try something else, maybe extend the Anubias, but I like the red. I also like the idea of not having it be a big bush, but rather a wall, given I don't have a lot of real estate in this lovely aquarium. So I want to take advantage, and since there are a bunch of little micro rasbors, which we haven't seen any, probably because I was up and yammering and trimming, but they would appreciate, there's one that zipped by up in the back, they appreciate having some swimming space too. And so you have all these really cool options for a number of fish. I wish I was having better luck with the fish in here. I haven't hit the sweet spot. You see the rasbors, the chilies swimming along. I wish they did more of that. But here we are, you know, thank God for plants and aquascaping, because I can enjoy this tank pretty much with nothing in it and then sit here and fantasize about what I could put in it in terms of livestock. Because I haven't cracked the code on that. Oh, thank God I was randomly panning. These are air plants. They're really cheap. You can get them in any nursery. Even Petco has them sometimes. Just air plants. Isn't that badass? I take each of these and literally dip them in the water and pull them out and stick them back in their spots. And they just grow, pulling nutrients from that little bit of acclimation to water, but basically from the air, because that's what they're called, air plants. So I can't get into the botany of that species beyond that, but it would be something worth looking up, and maybe I'll do that now. So as always, keep your hands in the tank, and ciao for now.